Well, having already qualified for the Champions League in yesterday's video, today is all about trying to secure second place in the Premier League and trying to book a spot in our first ever European final, which is a bit of a tall order. Hello and welcome to part 167 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have that second leg of the Europa League semi-final against Dortmund, and then our final game of the Premier League season away against Chelsea. Nothing's happened since you were last with me, because obviously that was three days ago when we beat Brighton and Mark Alleth became a hero. But we are now refocused on the Europa League again, and this is the team we're putting out there to try and cause a massive upset and book a spot in a very unlikely final. So we're going with Powell in goal, a back four of Candemil, Sands, Lee and Meyer, Alves at the base of the midfield, Cristiano and Yamin ahead of him, Costa behind Akemo and Mira. I think it's my strongest side. I still don't know who my best goalkeeper is. I'm not entirely sure what my best midfield combination of two in there is. I don't know who's the best person to partner Mira. But, you know, it's only the end of the season. I've only had a year to figure it all out. Let's assertively say we want to get revenge for that first leg. I don't know how effective it's going to be. I don't know how good Dortmund are in relation to us. We are theoretically about to finish second in the Premier League, as long as we don't mess things up against Chelsea. You would think it should be a competitive game, but they did just look a lot better than us in that first leg. But then, as a bonus, we're getting to wear the lovely pink/red shirts, which we never get to wear. This, of all the three home shirts, this is my favourite one. But we just never seem to wear it. But we're wearing it now, so maybe it will become a lucky shirt. Fingers crossed. Right, Sands down the left hand side. Obviously Sands made a big mistake in that first leg, which led to the early goal for Dortmund. Hopefully won't see a repeat of that today. Costa plays it out to Meyer. Meyer has had a disappointing second season with us, and I mean that says it all really. Gives the ball away, Dortmund score. That's probably that. I think it's going to take a bit of a miracle to get us back into this game now, but that just about sums up Meyer's season. Last year he arrived, much excitement, was comfortably the best player at the club, had an outstanding season, one of the top goal scorers from right back, was just amazing. Then in the summer we brought in three players who arguably are better than him. I think he just doesn't like not being top dog. He's now just one of several very, very good world-class players we've got, and he doesn't like it. He wants to be the absolute star of the show. He's not, and because of that he's not had a very good season. Dortmund now with a free kick on the edge of the area. They've made it 2, and that is that now. The Europa League dream was fun while it lasted. I think, bearing in mind where we were 5 games into the Champions League campaign, to have got this far in Europe, to still be playing European games right at the end of the season, is more than we could have hoped for. But it's similar to Hoffenheim last year. It's sending a very clear message that we're not yet ready to compete at this level, and again is raising questions about whether this system that we use, which, I mean, the diamond, there's lots of people who think we should get rid of it, but it has been very successful for a long time. We ultimately have qualified for the Champions League again, but it does seem to get found out in Europe, and that's a problem. But in order to change that, we'd have to spend far more money than we've got. For us to, it's not a case of sign a couple of wingers and have a plan B. We have to, and we've done this before, regretted it, and it took a year to fix. To switch to a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, we're going to have to sell some players. If we want to do the 4-2-3-1, we've got to sell Alves and Ricardo. We've got to get rid of the defensive midfielders. If we're going to go to a 4-3-3, Costa and Manu have got to go. So whichever one of those systems we move to, we've got to sell at least one world-class player and one very good backup player. I know there's an argument that says just sell Manu and Ricardo, the two backups in those two positions. That's all well and good until Costa gets injured or Alves gets injured, and then we can't even play the diamond anymore. We can't just afford to go out and buy 3 wingers. So, yeah, it would take a huge squad. Basically, by committing to a new system, we're also committing to not using this system again, because we're going to have to sell integral parts of it. And that's my big fear, because although we've been found out in Europe a couple of times, I kind of feel like we should be getting found out in Europe, because this is only our 4th season in Europe. We're still a young team at this level. And we've made it through to a semi-final. It's not like it's been a disaster. And what if we can't do the new system? What if it doesn't work? What if we need to switch back to the diamond but can't because we've sold... I mean, it's taken us a long time to get... That is a world-class midfield with world-class backup players. Well, maybe not world-class, but very good backup players. It's taken us a long time to get this midfield together. I don't want to break it up just to try something different that might not work. So I think we need to try and be sensible with the transfer policy, focus on bringing in youngsters. If those youngsters also happen to be wingers, great. That means we might organically develop an option for a system that has wingers over the next year or two. If we bring in a couple of 18-year-olds who are both wingers and they develop really well and they force their way into the first team reckoning, then that's a way to get the top wingers without having to sell the team we've got first. But it's going to be a slow process. I think realistically we're using this system next season because I don't see how we have an alternative. Obviously, if we have a similar situation to what we had with Jimenez last summer, where he forces through a move. So if Alves decides to force through a move to Manchester City, then maybe at that point we think, okay, that's our cue. Let's reinvest that money in wide players. But I don't think I'm going to voluntarily sell players who are a key part of this setup just to gamble on trying something a little bit different. But there you go. We have made it to the semi-final. The board are pleased. We should all be pleased. A semi-final in Europe is fantastic. And now we just need to beat Chelsea on the last day to make sure that we finish second in the Premier League. For bragging rights, if nothing else. I mean, we're already qualified. They're not. They're going to want to win more than us. But I want to finish above Arsenal. I want to finish second. I want to feel like we're making some progress on our 4th place finish last year. I couldn't help myself. I'm playing Harris and Morris. I'm playing them both. It's their last ever games before they retire. Dean Morris at the base of the midfield. Sir Anthony Harris playing in the position he found later in his career as a deep lying forward. He does have 2 England caps now, by the way. So if you've not been watching the England series, you might want to go and check to see how he got on playing for England. But this is his first Premier League game since returning to the club. So first time he's played a league game for home in about 5 years. But he did get that Champions League goal last season in the game where Mick Powell scored as well. But it's a final game for the 2 of them, and hopefully they put in a bit of a performance. I have been already making some transfer moves as well, so there should be some interesting business in the transfer special that will be coming up tomorrow. Or maybe I haven't decided which one's going to be first, the transfer special or the Nations League England stuff. Watch this space. Probably the transfer special. Right, let's show Chelsea why we are top of the form standings, which is weird considering in the little pre-match thing it still showed our form as being inconsistent. So we've got inconsistent form, but we are top of the Premier League form table, which shows just how much teams like to bottle the end of the season if we're the most informed team and even we're not playing very well. But I think it says inconsistent because of the fact we've obviously got those 3 defeats in Europe. Our last 3 games in the Europa League we lost, once to Lazio, twice to Dortmund, so that's probably what's giving us our inconsistent form. In the Premier League, I don't think we've lost for almost since the halfway point of the season. We've been in very, very good form in the Premier League. If we'd have played all year the way we've played since Christmas, we'd have won the league. So that bodes well going into next season, and he's one of the reasons why I'm not planning on a huge turnover of players this summer. And I think if I can bring in some youngsters, and if I can find the right striker to partner Mira, maybe a striker. But other than that, I think I'm happy with the rest of the squad as it is, unless somebody steps up and decides they want to leave, which at the moment, according to the dynamics page, there is nobody at the club who's currently unhappy. So I think we're probably not going to do a lot. I am aware that, was it the most recent transfer window? I said it was going to be the shortest one we've ever done, and it came in at over an hour. So I'm fully aware that's all subject to change. But as it stands right now, I'm not planning on doing a lot. I can't guarantee that the Kev who comes back to record that video this afternoon won't decide to do a lot. But this Kev If I was doing it right now, I'm not doing a lot. That's the plan as it currently stands. This is likely to be the last time you see Hervé as well. He's in on loan this year. I think we need to get rid of him just to make room for some of the youngsters we've got coming through in that position. The conveyor belt has started. Daniel Collins is ready to be part of this squad. He's a homegrown player, and there are 2 or 3 other young centre-backs behind him on the conveyor belt that we've artificially created with all these 18-year-olds we've been bringing in. But we need to start being a little bit more ruthless and brutal with some of these fringe players. So if you hit like 24, 25 and you're not a regular, at least on the bench, it's time to leave. And I think, although Hervé isn't that old, he's also not our player. Same with Ruiz Carrillo. They're useful squad players, but those squad spots could go to youngsters. So I think we're going to be unlikely to do much in the way of, unless they're really special loans. I don't expect any loans to come in this summer either. Obviously, my director of football might have different ideas, and I will definitely have a look at what he suggests, because he's found us some gems in the past. But I genuinely think first team squad wise, the only player we're likely to bring in is a striker, because with Ruiz Carrillo going back to Barcelona, we have only got 3. We've got Mira, Kano and Akemo. Kano and Akemo have both had terrible seasons, so I want to bring someone over the top of them to partner Mira, have them 2 as the backup players. That's the thinking. Chelsea are absolutely thumping us. I know we've got Harris and Morris on the pitch, and that, because of the way Football Manager works, that's massively lowered the average ability of our team, and Anthony Morris playing up front is making our defence play worse, because that's just the way Football Manager works. But this is an absolute battering we're taking here. Luckily, Arsenal not doing so great either, so as it stands right now, Chelsea can batter us all they like, they're still not going to get in the Champions League. Arsenal aren't going to finish second, we are, so I can live with all that. We do need to give Sir Anthony Harris his standing ovation before the game is out, so I need to remember to take him off. Zupancic is in, and that's his 4th goal of the season. It's a nice, tidy little finish from Zupancic, another assist for Meyer. And, I mean, Zupancic cost us a lot of money last summer. Remember, he's still very young. We are going to see plenty of him over the next few years. He's one of the main reasons why I just don't need a midfielder. We've got Yamin, Cristiano, Zupancic as 3 very good central midfielders. If we ever feel the need to add a 4th, that 4th will be added from our own youth setup. And I'm including the foreign youngsters as part of that youth setup. Candemil's had a terrible game there. We don't have Alith on the bench. So Cesar Sands playing as a left back, hopefully for the last time. But I think we are going to take Dean Morris off. We've already said goodbye to Dean, but we're going to say goodbye again. That is the last time you'll see Dean Morris now. And 5 minutes to go, we're going to do a changing of the guard thing, like we did last year when Powell went off and Mercier came on. Mercier, by the way, broken leg. That's why you've seen nothing of him this year. Hopefully the same punishment isn't going to befall the changing of the guard we're about to see here. Sir Anthony Harris off. Bruno Eduardo Mira on. And hopefully Mira can go on to score as many goals for the club as Harris has. Thank you, Sir Anthony. It's been awesome. Now you join us as a youth coach. He takes Shane Phillips' spot as under-18s coach for us, starting tomorrow. Back to work tomorrow, Anthony. You can keep United, but you're starting from the bottom on the coaching setup. Mira now plays it to Meyer even. I can't speak. Sands, can he get a crossover? He can to Mira, and it's headed straight at the Chelsea keeper. And I think that's probably that. We have finished second in the Premier League, because Arsenal have bottled their game against Manchester City. I think between the 2 of them, they've just decided to keep Chelsea out. I think it seems like a rather convenient 0-0 draw between Arsenal and Man City. There'd be questions asked there in real life, I think. But Chelsea, despite thumping us on the last day, don't make it into the Champions League. I think that will result in their manager getting sacked, because he was teetering on the brink. And we finish second in the Premier League. Our second best ever finish. And there's a big pile of cash to celebrate. Excellent stuff. So, we will be back tomorrow. I'm pretty sure we'll do the transfer special tomorrow. The only way I won't is if it's impossible to put that video together without Nations League spoilers. So, I might end up doing the Nations League first just to avoid spoilers. I'll see how the videos look. I'll obviously be recording them both sort of concurrently because the transfer window will start, then I'll do the Nations League, then the transfer window will finish. So it will go together as one transfer window video. But if it's going to spoil the Nations League, then we'll do Nations League tomorrow. I don't need to explain it in that much depth. I think you all understand. But if you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.